Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Denver, Colorado. And this is my buddy Puccini, who keeps me company in the craft room. And right this minute, he is very anxious to get away. So I think I'm gonna let him do that. One last look at the people. There you go. There you go. All right, sweetie. And I have a very fun and simple anniversary card for you today. I make one every year and try to do it in gold and black. When I made the invitations for my youngest son's wedding, they were done in black with gold embossing, so I try to do something along those lines every year for their anniversary, which is coming up in a couple of months. But I thought this is the time of year that we start to need anniversary cards. So I have this simple one for you, and let's just get started. This is my card, and it's very simple and very minimalist, but the paper is what makes it. This is that distressed gold paper in the annual catalog. And what I did was I cut my piece into 4-inch strips, so my 12 by 12 sheet into 4-inch strips, so I could get 2 of these per strip. And there's 2 pieces of paper in there, so this could be birthday, it could be thinking of you, it could be any number of things. And so you could get, 2, 4, 6, so you could get 12 of these cards out of a package of this distressed paper. So my basic card base is 8.5 by 5.5 scored and folded at 4 1/4. And then I have from the two-tone Flora. This is the die set, and I didn't use the stamp set at all, just the die set. And so it has all of these things that punch out things that are in the stamp set. All I did was use this particular die, and mine is still in the die here. And I found the first couple of times I cut this, I had quite a bit of trouble. So I've got some ideas for you that will make this less difficult. And that is, this paper is it's less like paper and almost like fabric. And so it's very thin, but it has a lot of fiber in it. And so it doesn't cut as cleanly if you cut it by itself. What I found was I took some copy paper like this that I use for scratch paper, and I put it underneath this, and then I put the die on top of it, and it gave it just enough stability that it didn't cut this paper out completely, but the piece that was closest to the die cut really well. And I was really having some trouble with it, and I was about to give up the idea until I decided to try and give it a little bit more stability with some other kind of paper behind it. And that strategy worked. And you can see here that it cut everything. And so I hadn't taken this out yet, and I'm going to do that now. See if I can't get it teased out of here. And it's very delicate, so I want to kind of go slow here and make sure I don't tear anything. And just make it go along the edges here and get to the point that I can get all of it off, but I sure don't want to force anything because I don't want to tear it. And because it had that other piece of paper, it's really in this die tight. And so taking it out, it's going to take a little bit of patience, but if you've got that patience, you can get your piece out of there and whole. And if there's a part that's a little tough, sometimes sticking a little pokey tool in there to release it may just do the trick. I think that part of the part that's difficult is this really intricate part here. And so I'm just going to use my pokey tool to go along here and just release along those edges on a couple of these places, because I really don't want that to tear. And so, well, it did anyway. But we're going to be able to lay it down and you won't be able to see a thing. And so here we go. We're getting there, getting there. And let's see if I need to coax this piece up here a little bit. I would never want you to believe that this is really super easy. This is going to take some patience and some delicate operations here to get all of this out. There we go. Got it. All right, so now we have this piece out, and it just looks like I need to trim along that bottom edge to give it the same kind of border around. So I'm going to bring in my trimmer and do that. And let's see. And I'm just going to leave a little bit on there. In fact, I think I want to come up rather than down and take that piece off. There, I think it's got about the same as the top, and the sides are close, very close. Okay, so there we go. I've got my piece cut out, and with a little bit of patience, you can get it done. And this piece is going to go on the front here. That and the sentiment is literally all that goes on the front of this card. And this piece is going to cut out so there is no margin on the black on the top and the bottom, or not much of one, and just a little bit of margin from side to side. Now, in order to stick that down, I'm going to use Tombow, and a combination of Tombow and a little bit of dot runner. Because this is so delicate, I just want to get little bits of glue, and I mostly want to get the edges here. So I'm going to go along the edges with my dot runner to make sure that I can get the whole thing to stick down. And then a little bit of dot runner, I think, on some of these leaves here, especially anything that's hanging loose by itself. And so I'm going to put a little bit, and I'm going to go the direction, like I wouldn't want to pull back on this leaf. So I'm going to go the direction that the leaf goes, and get little bits. In fact, maybe I'll just do this whole thing this way, because you could certainly get plenty of Tombow on some of these larger pieces, but those aren't the ones I'm worried about. Mostly I'm worried about the very small, delicate pieces on the inside. And I think that this dot runner is going to do just about everything I need here. And if I miss a spot, I can always pick a leaf up and add some more. All right, so we know that this is going to go right along the top with a little bit of margin on either side, because when we dry fit it, that's the way it fit on here. So I'm going to put that across there, and then just let that come down here along the card. And if it's a little bit long on one end, that's fine. I'd rather have that than the other kind of problem. And I can see here, this is where the Tombow comes in. Because right here I can see, you see how these leaves are kind of rippling and kind of up? I'm going to put a little bit of Tombow down here, and I'm going to use my pick tool to just add a tiny bit of glue in some of those places underneath there and get that to stick down. So it's a little fiddly, but it's so simple that I think it's probably worth it to do it. I think I got most of that down, maybe a little bit over here on this side. And I'm just going to try and get a tiny bit of glue down on some of those ends. And then when that dries, one of the things that's nice about Tombow is it dries clear, but even if it's a little sticky, you can use your glue eraser and just remove anything from the places you don't want it. But I think that's pretty good. Now I am going to, let's see if I got any overhang on this. Nope, it's all on there. Good. Okay, so there we go. That is the front of the card basically done. And Then we need a bit of scrap black. What I did for the corner on the inside, I did two different things. On this one, I cut out this corner of the die, and I did that by placing on a 2 by 2 inch square, cuts out that flower and a little bit of an edge. And that I did on this card, where I just cut out that little piece, backed it in black so that it matched the front, and used that for the decoration on the inside. On this one, what I did was basically that same thing, only I snipped around the edge of the flowers so that I cut out just the flower and put that on the inside. So those two different choices for the inside of the card. And I have done that same thing with this piece. I have my large flower, and then I trimmed this little black piece to go around the flower and basically cover just what I needed covered. And so I can put those two pieces together also now while we wait for this other to dry. And for that, I'm going to use my dot runner once again here. This is where it's tricky, right here on the edge, to get a little bit of glue so that it sticks down. All right, that piece is ready for the inside. This is ready for the outside. This should be dry. So now I'm going to use my gum eraser to take a little bit of that excess glue off. And again, patience is something that will help you with this, because eventually your gum eraser will get all of the glue off. You just have to be careful and go slow. And now I can't feel any of that glue along any of these edges. Now maybe right down there I can just see a little bit. Okay, I think we're good. I can't see anything else, and I don't feel anything. And when you finally get to the point that you can't feel anything and you can't see anything, you've got your glue gone. All right, so let's see. This piece is going to go right down here in this corner, like that. And I'm just going to use my dot runner because it's handy. Just put plenty of glue on it and set that down just inside that corner, so there's just a tiny little margin like that. And then this piece is ready to go down on the inside of my card, and we're nearly done. All right, so this piece is going to go here on the inside of the card. All right, so there is that part. Now we have the sentiment to do, and the piece I cut for the sentiment is, hi baby, we have a visitor. Puccini's decided to come and help. He might have to be evicted though. Yeah, I think so. We don't have enough room for you and everything else here. All right, so here is my little piece that I cut for my sentiment. And you might feel more comfortable doing this on a piece of scrap black and then trimming it down to fit. And what I've done here, this is a 1/2 inch by 2 inches. And here is my sentiment. And my sentiment comes from the So Much Love. Oh, Love for You is what it's called, and it has a happy anniversary. It had a happy Valentine's, congratulations, and friend, and all kinds of things on here. But I was very interested in this happy anniversary, and you can see that that is just going to fit. So I have my embossing buddy here. I'm going to powder up my little piece of black, and because you don't want any stray gold powder, because on the black, believe me, it will show. So I've got that there, and then I've got a nice juicy Versamark pad and my anniversary. Set this up on one of my grid lines so that I can get that on there reasonably straight. Put down my happy anniversary. And there we go. All right. So now I've got my gold embossing powder here. And a pair of tweezers. And that's not very straight on there, I don't think. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, let me try and do that again first. That looks to be a little bit better. Yeah, that's definitely straighter, and then we can trim that down. Okay, I'll get my heat tool, I'll quiet the video, and I'll be back in a flash. Okay, there we go. That ended up being a little slimmer than a ½ inch, but it's on there pretty evenly on the little piece of card, so I'm happy with that. And then I have a couple of black dimensionals, and actually I have this piece along the bottom that is sort of the bones, and I think I'm going to take that and cut that off, and that's already pretty narrow, and use that piece on the back of here. Center that like that, and then I don't have to trim anything down. All right, so now I've got my happy anniversary, and I'm going to set that down right in here. And I didn't take it all the way to the edge of the card. I took it to where you can see the edge of the gold and put that into place here. There we go. So that is the entirety of the card. I don't know, you'll have to tell me which you like better, whether you like these that have this little medallion on the inside, or the version that just has the one single flower. As I look at these, might be kind of fun to just put a little piece of black that would show just behind the flower. That is my project for the day. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, well, I'd love to be your demonstrator, or you could join my team. It's always a good time to join Stampin' Up! It's $99, gets you $125 worth of product, and you start out with a 20% discount, and you don't have to have your first minimum till the end of August. I also have a monthly prize draw, and you can put yourself in the drawing by placing an order of any size on my store, lbedinger.stampinup.net, and you can get to it through my blog, www.ingenuity.com. That is it for me. I will be back soon with more cards, more projects, and more tips. Bye!